Welcome to Women Live TV, brought to you by Southern Crescent Women in Business Media. I am Ariel Shaw, founder and president of Southern Crescent Women in Business, and it was important for me this year to ensure that our women were getting proper exposure. We are a conglomerate of women-owned businesses and women in business in the Southern Crescent. We are here to change the economic landscape of the Southern Crescent. We're here to fund women-owned businesses, and we are here to advocate for women-owned businesses. Welcome to Women Live TV. All right. So, again, thank you and welcome to Women, Wealth, and Entrepreneurship Podcast. I am Ariel Shaw, your host, founder and president of Southern Crescent Women in Business. And we're so excited to have our guest today, which is Demetria Winters. And we want to make sure we mention that we are sponsored. We have to thank our sponsors. Our sponsors of our 2021 media sponsors are Kim Mays State Farm Agency in Stockbridge, Georgia, as well as Sherry DeVos Denard State Farm in McDonough, Georgia. We could not do it without them. Go to coveredbykim.com as well as sddinsurance.com. So again, I'm Ariel Shaw, founder and president of Southern Crescent Women in Business. This is Women, Wealth, and Entrepreneurship. Today we're talking with Demetria Winters. Demetria, tell everyone who you are and what's your business.
I am Demetria Winters. I am not only an Army veteran, I'm also a new behavioral health nurse, as well as an author and a mental health advocate, survivor of childhood trauma. And my business is Black Butterfly Queens Life Coaching. And with that is life, health, and wellness with a big focus on emotional and mental well-being.
Awesome. Well, the reason we wanted you to come, one, congratulations on your new business. And you've been in the healthcare field. You are an advocate for mental health. I think this year has been, or the past year and a half, I should say, has been a year like no other, where you had more women, one, leave the workforce, or who then doubled down as far as making sure they didn't have to leave the workforce while still managing businesses, kids, home, and a host of other things. To say that it has been difficult on the mental health is an understatement. So tell us a little bit about what trends you have seen as it relates to women in business and mental health, and why is it even more important now that we pay more attention to our mental health, something that I think has been a little bit of a stigma in the past years. It was just never something that, especially in the minority community, we just didn't talk a lot about mental health. Or the importance of even having good mental health. So tell us a little bit about why you think now, especially as women in business, we need to pay a little bit more attention to that.
Well, for me, one of the big things when it comes to such an impact, say for instance, from something as big as the pandemic, it kind of brought things to the forefront when we were always hiding and keeping this stuff secret as far as people's challenges with their mental health. So now there's been a change and is more at the forefront because it's more obvious. You know, it's so easy to hide behind different facades. Oh, I'm a boss, I have it under control. Oh, I look good from head to toe. Things like of that nature. But say, for instance, on a personal level, I've been able to accomplish many goals without a diagnosis, but suffering from major depression.
Hmm.
And I see now, and I'm happy that now is at the forefront, but we have to do something about it. We have to be solution oriented, and we have to stop making people, um, especially women, to me, because I don't know if you remember an old commercial. I'm probably dating myself about I can bring home and fry it up in a pan and all these things that you can do. And Black women are magical because they can take all these roles and burdens and still make it look good. Okay, yeah, we make it look good, but we have to worry about, are you able to do your self-care and maintain a certain level of peace so that you can continue to do all your magical little works?
You know what? That's so interesting that you say that because the society has us thinking, or it had us thinking, I should say, um, that yes, women, we can do a lot. We can absolutely do a lot. Same as men for the most part. The problem, though, is we wear so many hats. The problem is we tend to put ourselves on the background behind everybody. So the house is taken care of, the kids are taken care of, the business is taken care of, and somewhere, eventually we get taken care of. Why is that dangerous now, even more so now? Why is that dangerous?
It's very, very dangerous because I'm going to describe it to you from a nurse's perspective, right? So when we talk to people, say about their pain level, 0 being no pain, 10 being the worst pain imaginable, where's your level? Well, one of the reasons we do that is because when people are at a higher level of pain, it's more difficult to get under control.
Hmm.
It takes longer, and sometimes what would normally work doesn't work. So when it comes to our mental health and well-being, they have proven that the sooner you take care of it, the better. So if we are running around on fumes and no fuel, then a lot of times that's when crisis happens. That's when people commit suicide. That's when people commit homicide. That's when people just zone out, and we don't retrieve them back. We don't get them back. It's very,
So
very
what? And you're not even. So you mentioned, those things, but we haven't even talked about heart disease. Because
exactly.
people don't realize we talk a lot about cancer, but technically Black women specifically are at the highest rate of heart disease.
Yes.
And a lot of that is triggered as a result of stress. It's a result of not putting yourself first. It's a result of not managing your they're not having a real balance with life and work. And unfortunately, so the society has we've come into this superwoman role, where I feel like sometimes women, and I know we keep saying Black women, but um, Black women are kind of put into this role, where they're running. Primarily, they're honestly at the front of the household, when we look at statistics. Um, there is not a balance where that is concerned. Um, and I know that it's extremely important. What I've seen, especially with the kids being home, most of the kids are now going back to school. Um, Running the business on top of managing the children
Yes.
at home during the pandemic, it added a whole nother layer of stress that I don't think a lot of people understood. And while still managing, of course, your business and trying to make sure everything ran correctly during this pandemic where you were on Zoom and your kid might have been on Zoom. But because we want to move towards what we call a more solution oriented area, tell me or tell us exactly some things that we could possibly do that could help minimize this stress, minimize, um, putting ourselves last. I know for me, I'll just say this before you go into what the audience should do. I have started putting myself on a calendar. It hasn't been very easy, but even if it's just putting my hair appointment on the calendar, or doing something. I started going to a Dominican hair salon. One, because they were open on Sundays, and I was like, "Oh my god, a salon open on Sunday! This is amazing." I've always looked at my downtime, my down day as a Sunday, because typically you're working through the week. You got Saturday where you're running, and then Sunday is just like, let me breathe for a second. So for me to have a place where I could go on a Sunday was just like, I don't even know. It was amazing. And I know something as simple as that honestly worked for me. But I know there's a lot more I need to be doing. But, for other women in business, these women entrepreneurs who are really, really running on fumes, trying to be at everything, tell us what some steps, some practical things that we need to be doing to make sure our mental health is in check, making sure that we are operating on that prime, because your mental health is your real estate. You can't run a business if you're that real estate's messed up. So tell us some steps that we need to take.
Well, it's so funny that you mentioned what you do for that Sunday, because that's one of my points. One of my points is put yourself on your own calendar. You are the MVP of your life.
Yes.
You love your significant other and your parents and your children, and your business is your baby, and your puppies are your baby, or your cats, or whatever. You're the MVP of your life, and you can't be any good to any of those areas of your life unless you're good. Put your oxygen on first, honey. Put
Yes.
your oxygen on first. So one of the things that's been very helpful for me, and when I talk to my patient, or when I talk to anybody, because I think I've kind of been this kind of person all along, but now it is really out there, making sure that, okay, you have your calendar, you know what you're going to do for certain things, except for those unexpected things that happen, that, it is what it is. But throughout the day, every day, you need to have some type of peaceful ritual. For me, when I wake up, believe it or not, I have to do my hygiene care with music playing, my music, whether, whatever music you like that makes you happy. I have to actually, for me, dance in a mirror. And like you said, there are some things that are simple, but they actually are complex, and they actually make a big difference. And I gave out stress balls at my business launch. Have something simple like a stress ball at your desk. It's really easy to carry. And that gets out some of that tension.
Mm.
Even if you can't take a 30-minute walk because you're busy, take a 5-minute walk where you're not answering your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Try your best to be consistent, because at first you need to make yourself a calendar and put yourself in the calendar. Then after a while, it's going to become automatic where you're not saying, reminding yourself to think of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Remind yourself to think of yourself.
Right.
Wow.
Like that, it is. It's very crazy. Like sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I have to do this for my child, and I have to do this for the business and the job, and I have to do this for this. And if you ever think about it, where are you in that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
You're not good.
That's really good. So, okay, so let's do that recap. Get that calendar, put yourself on that calendar. Take time daily to take what you call what do you call that? Like just me time during the day or
Really,
quiet time.
let's call it a mini retreat.
Okay.
Because it sounds fancy, right? It sounds all nice and fancy, and we're gonna be fancy. It's a mini retreat, and I like to think of having at least 3 mini retreats a day. When
Wow.
I wake up in the morning, if nothing else, no matter what happened the night before or anything else, have a nice little short me time. And it could be in the bathroom, it can be when you're fixing your breakfast, whatever, but make sure you do something special for yourself.
Love on yourself. That's
Yes,
good.
love on yourself at the beginning of the day. In the middle of your day, yeah, you're gonna feed yourself, but are you kind of listening to music, zoning out, or are you answering your phone or checking your messages? Stop it.
Mm,
I know that some that stuff is important as well, but you are the MVP. You're the most valuable player.
right.
So make sure that at the end of your night, put some fragrances or something, flowing throughout the house. Wind down with your music. Have some wind down music. Have wind down
Oh,
time.
well, I do that, and you know what? I think a lot of parents do that. I read something where moms they're they're up later at night just because they now have the time to decompress. They now have the time to the kids are asleep, the food is done, everything's ready for tomorrow. Now let me breathe. So I've seen that. I do it. I love my candles in the evening. I am a candle person. I really need to make a line of candles because I buy so many candles. They're at the office, they're at the house. It's a thing. So I love things to smell good, and it helps. Um,
That sense.
I
Think
yeah.
about the senses. Think about all the things that make you feel good sensory wise.
Mm,
Something simple for me is the color purple. It
mm,
actually makes me happy to see the color purple. That's my favorite color. And for some reason, just the vision of it does something. Because so think of all your senses and
yeah.
express beautiful, positive things that you think are beautiful and positive. Don't, if somebody else likes something else, that's not your business. Take care of your business, mind your business, right? And
Right.
take care of all your senses.
Ah, well, this is awesome. So, is there any other tips that you think we need to know, especially again? Well, we thought we were coming out the pandemic. It looks like we're hitting another wave with this Delta variant. Not sure where that is going to take us, to be quite honest, as it relates to business. Um, it seems at this point, we just need to be prepared. I think we've done it. I think we would know what we need to do if we have to go into some sort of lockdown again. But is there anything specific that we need to do now, or any other tips that we need to take away with for our listening audience for women, wealth, and entrepreneurship?
Yes. Preparation is key.
Okay.
Preparation. to help, because even if stuff doesn't go as planned, it softens the blow of
Mm,
stuff that kind of can keep you off. So if you prepare, you have some structure,
mhm.
you you make a plan and you adjust the plan based on what happened and what's going on at the moment and what works for you. We've been through the pandemic. We know what doesn't work. Some of us, we may not know what works for us, but we know what doesn't work for us.
Right.
Use
Process of elimination.
use your experiences and make sure that, oh well, this didn't work for me, so I'm going to try this.
Hmm.
And also, usually people want to try only one thing to solve a problem, and usually it takes at least three things in conjunction with each other, right? To
Right.
get something to actually work. So you might have an issue, say for instance, with the particular job, maybe the distance of it compared to where your home is or where the school is. If at all possible, go ahead and while you're still working, search for something that's going to cut your commute down. But while you're doing that, make sure you're thinking about the finance part of it. Would it save you because you're not using the gas?
Mm,
um you know and and adjust in ways that you can control, and you
right.
do have more control over things than you realize. You are not a robot.
Yeah. That's where anxiety comes, where they feel like they don't have the control. All right. Well, this has been good. So, again, guys, this is Women, Wealth, and Entrepreneurship. We are talking with Demetria Winters of what is your business name? BBQ?
Yes, my DBA, doing business as, which is a little easier, BBQ Life Coach. And
BBQ
no, it's not
Life
BBQ.
Coach. And what I like about what Demetria is saying, and more importantly, her background is she also comes from a science background. So although it's great to do these feel good things, I think it adds more validity when we're talking about, well, what happens when you don't do it? What happens when your body isn't given the proper care that you should give it? What happens to the mental health? So, as much as you put attention on the outside, make sure you're putting that attention on the inside. Make sure you're showing up for yourself so that you can show up correctly for your business and for your family. Because at the end of the day, as much as you're wanting to be there for your family and your business, if you're not taking care of yourself, you simply cannot do it. So, again, mental health is important. I know we have just ended Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, but we're making sure we talk about it as much as we can. So it may be focused on 1 month from the national perspective, but we're going to talk about it as much as we can, and we want to just make sure that as women and female entrepreneurs, you're putting yourself on your calendar. You're making sure that you have that quiet time. You're decompressing. You're doing things that add to your happiness, because nobody likes a grouch. Nobody wants to do business with a grouch. So find that balance. Get that exercise in. You know those endorphins. That's all of that's good. It helps stimulate the body, the mind. It helps your heart, and more importantly, it'll help you long in the long run as it relates to your business. So again, how can they find you, Demetria?
They can find me on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn. They can also go to my website, www.bbqlifecoach.com. And my business number is 404 919 3144.
All right, awesome. And this again has been another episode of Women, Wealth, and Entrepreneurship. We are discussing and we're discussing mental health for women entrepreneurs. Again, we are sponsored by Kim May State Farm Agency in Stockbridge, Georgia. Get covered by Kim.com, as well as Sherry DeVals Denard State Farm Agency, SDDinsurance.com. Again, Women, Wealth, and Entrepreneurship. I am Ariel Shaw, Southern Crescent Women in Business, and have an amazing day. Thank you, Demetria.
Thank you for having me.